Good morning, dear students. How are you? I hope you all must be fine and really missing the school campus, playground, meeting your friends, and all the fun. But the need of the hour is that we keep ourselves at home and take all the necessary precautions to keep ourselves safe. Now, I also believe that you all must be completing the assignments in all the subjects and studying regularly. This week I am going to take the third chapter from your book, Hornbill, that is Discovering Toot, the Saga Continues by A.R. Williams. Now, the word discovery itself tells you that he had been unknown for a long time. King Tut's full name was Tutankhamun. He was the last heir of his dynasty of the Egyptian kings. And with his untimely death came the end of his family's dynasty. So it is believed that his successors, who did not belong to his family, perhaps had mummified him in a hurry and he was not known for a long time. Therefore, one British archaeologist was discovering and finding, and he succeeded in the year 1922 when he really discovered King Tut's mummy. He wanted to investigate how he died, and also during this investigation he found out the treasure that was buried along with him. Because he belonged to a king's family, lot of wealth and treasure was buried along with him. Now children, do you know why the mummies, in the mummies, the dead bodies are buried along with the things, along with all the precious and expensive things? Yes, you must have studied in history that the Egyptians believed in afterlife. And when the Egyptian king was buried, they believed that from a simple ordinary thing to the lavish things, everything was buried along with him, along with his dead body, his coffin, in a big chamber in his tomb. So the archaeologists, the scientists, everybody was very curious to know about him. Now in this chapter we are also going to study about King Tutankhamun's family lineage and what was the treasure that was buried along with him. Especially his gold mask, which covered his face in his mummy, was the talk of the town. All the tourists, it was open for tourists, and when they went there, they were really surprised to see that everything was of gold. So let us read the chapter and find out, and also read the chapter completely, because in this session, in this video, I am going to take only half of the chapter, and the next half we will take it up in the next video. About the author. A.R. Williams or Anne Williams is a senior writer in National Geographic magazine. This is an extract from one of her articles that featured in National Geographic Volume 207, number 6. Some of her popular works include Bamboo Clothing and Mystery of the Tattooed Mummy. So what are we going to read in this chapter by Anne Williams, the author? She has talked about King Tut, his royal lineage. How did King Tut die? King Tut, his mummy and tomb. And where is King Tut now? So we are going to find out from the chapter what are the answers to all this. King Tutankhamun or Tutankhamen ruled Egypt as a pharaoh for 10 years until his death at age 19 around 1324 BC. Although his rule was notable for reversing the tumultuous religious reforms of his father, Pharaoh Akhenaten, Tutankhamun's legacy was largely negated by his successors. He was barely known to the modern world until 1922, when a British archaeologist, Howard Carter, chiseled through a doorway and entered the boy pharaoh's tomb, which had remained sealed for more than 3,200 years. The tomb's vast hoard of artifacts and treasure intended to accompany the king into the afterlife revealed an incredible amount about royal life in ancient Egypt and quickly made King Tut the world's most famous pharaoh. So we begin with the chapter now. The author has said that he was just a teenager when he died. So in the overview also I told you that he was a teenager. Teenager means when he died he was 19-year-old. The last heir of a powerful family that had ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. He was laid to rest laden with gold and eventually forgotten. Now since he did not have any heir, he did not have any son who would have been his successor, he was completely forgotten, and also he was the last heir of his family. And since the Egyptian believed in the afterlife, they used to bury the dead bodies with a lot of things that would be required in their afterlife. So after death they believed there is resurrection of life, and therefore even as per that belief, the king Tut was also laden with gold and many treasures. Since the discovery of his tomb in 1922, it's the crucial year, because after his death, after a long period of time, 1922 became the year when Howard Carter had discovered his tomb. The modern world had been speculating, just thinking. They were just having a speculation. They were trying to find out what had happened to him, because there was no news about him, how he died. And this is what the author says, that King Tut had a mysterious death, and therefore murder being the most extreme possibility. So people started thinking that perhaps it was a murder. Now leaving his tomb for the first time in almost 80 years, Tut has undergone a CT scan. CT, the full form is computed tomography. And this is the most modern 20th century. You can call it as scientific invention which enables the scientists and the doctors to find out scan our body and find out the mysteries. Tut has undergone a CT scan, and Tut became the first mummy whose CT scan had been done that offers new clues about his life and death. And therefore, in 1922, the British archaeologist felt that the CT scan of King Tut's mummy can reveal the secret about his life and death, and provides precise data for an accurate forensic reconstruction of the boyish pharaoh. As I told you, King Tut was also known as a boy king because he was just 9 or 10 years old when he had ascended the throne, when he became the king. So this boyish pharaoh, forensic reconstruction. Forensic reconstruction means, forensic is also known as criminalistics. Criminalistics is a science, it's a branch of science in which the scientists find out or investigate the reasons of a murder or a crime. So the forensic reconstruction and the CT scan had been used to prove what had happened to King Tut. Now in this paragraph, the author has described the condition of the atmosphere at that time when the King Tut's body was being taken out from his grave, from the tomb. An angry wind stirred up ghostly dust devils as King Tut was taken from his resting place, his place where he was buried, his tomb, in the ancient Egyptian cemetery. The ancient Egyptian cemetery is a place where the dead bodies are buried, and for the Egyptian kings, the cemetery was different. It was separate, and it was known as the Valley of the Kings. So from there, when King Tut's body was being taken out, the wind seemed to be so harsh and so strong that they seemed to be stirring up as though they have moved the dust devils. The dust seemed to be rising so high and blowing so hard with the wind that it seemed as though it was devils or ghosts coming up. So as you all know, students, that Egypt is mostly the desert land, and there you can see the sandy area and dust is more common. Dark-bellied clouds had scudded across the desert sky all day and now were veiling the stars in a cascade grey. Dark-bellied clouds. Now you can see the clouds. The clouds seem to be bulging. If there are too many clouds joining together, dark-bellied. Bellied actually means stomach. Black clouds were bulging. You know how to draw clouds? See, we make a big half circle and we join all that and we show it as though it is a big blown up thing. And dark-bellied clouds had scudded across, moved very fast. Now you can also imagine, or some horror movie that you must have seen in which such kind of things are shown. I'm sure that you must have seen such horror movies where you can imagine this kind of picturesque description given by the author. And when the clouds were across the whole sky, desert sky, all day, and now were veiling, look at the word veiling. Veiling means covering. It's a cover. And it was covering the stars in cascade grey. Because it was evening time, it was becoming greyish because the night was to follow, and casket means box. So the clouds were covering the stars as though they had hidden them inside a grey box. It was 6 p.m. on 5th January 2005. The world's most famous mummy gilded head first. The world's most famous mummy glided head first into a CT scanner and brought here to probe the lingering medical mysteries of this little understood young ruler who died more than 3,300 years ago. So the author says that King Tut's body became, or mummy became, the first one to be CT scanned, and therefore the head was first glided inside the CT scanner because they wanted to probe. Look at the word probe. It means investigate, search, find out the lingering medical mysteries of this little understood young ruler. Little understood. Little means hardly knew, hardly understood by anybody about the young ruler, and he died more than 3,300 years ago. All afternoon, the usual line of tourists, because the tourists were allowed to see the mummy, therefore the line of tourists from around the world had descended into the cramped rock-cut tomb some 26 feet underground to pay their respects. So they were so curious and anxious to see King Tut's mummy, and therefore they went inside the tomb. Now it is tomb is on the top, on the earth surface, but the mummy is placed inside underground. They gazed at the murals on the walls of the burial chamber and peered at Tut's gilded face. Okay, now in the previous paragraph you had seen there is another word there, glided, and here it is gilded face. Gilded means decorated. So peered at Tut's gilded face means they were looking curiously and with surprise at his decorated face, because there was a face mask. The gold face mask of King Tut became very famous among the people. And they gazed at the murals. Now look at the murals. Murals is the creativity or the piece of art directly made on the walls. Some kind of, you can say, paintings on the walls. So on the burial chamber, because he was a king, his mummy or his burial chamber was decorated very well, and the people, the tourists who went there, they gazed at it. Gaze means to see with surprise, and they were feeling very happy about it. They liked it very much. The most striking feature of his mummy shaped outer coffin lid. So his gilded face, his decorated face, the gold mask, it was the most striking feature of his mummy, shaped outer coffin lid. So the coffin lid, which was the outer coffin lid, was the mask on his face. Some visitors read from guidebooks in a whisper. So what these tourists were doing, why they were astonished, why they were surprised? Because some of them were reading from guidebooks in a whisper. Slowly they were trying to read from the guidebooks about King Tut. Others stood silently, perhaps pondering Tut's untimely death in his late teens. And some other visitors and the tourists, they were just looking at his face or his mummy, because they were thinking what had happened, pondering Tut's untimely death. Pondering means thinking what had happened to Tut, how did he die an untimely death, or wondering with a shiver if the pharaoh's curse. So they were thinking that, they were shivering also, that if they have come to that to see the dead body or to see the mummy, they were worried about the pharaoh's curse. Pharaoh is an Egyptian king. I'll just remind you that we have already told you about it. Pharaohs are the Egyptian kings. So they were thinking that probably the dead body may curse them, death or misfortune falling upon those who disturbed him. So they were thinking that it can curse and death or misfortune can fall upon them who were disturbing him in his deep sleep, in his mummy. Was really true. So they have heard about it, that Pharaoh's curse, it can curse, and therefore they were wondering whether it can be true. The mummy is in a very bad condition because of what Carter did in the 1920s, said Zahi Hawass, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, as he leaned over the body for a long first look. So Zahi Hawass, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities. Antiquities, you must be knowing, the word comes from antiques. Antique are pieces of art, which is actually antique. The word is given antique to them, to such objects which are more than 100 or more than 100 years old, and they have their historical and cultural value. So this Zahi Hawass, he said the mummy is in a very bad condition due to the investigations made by Howard Carter in 1922. Howard Carter, that is, was the British archaeologist who in 1922 discovered Tut's tomb after years of futile searching. Now, he had taken 7 long years to find out where King Tut's body was or mummy was. His tomb was not to be located because there were many other tombs around it, and the door, the main door which opened to the King Tut's tomb was shut or covered. Its contents, though hastily ransacked in antiquity, were surprisingly complete. And he found that the contents of the mummy, that is, all the things that were buried along with King Tut, they were surprisingly complete. Nobody had taken it away because nobody had stolen it away. It was there, though it was hastily ransacked in antiquity. Ransacked, hastily searching. Somebody, it seemed to have been searched, but all the things were there in the tomb. They remain the richest royal collection ever found and have become part of the pharaoh's legend. So, the pharaoh's story, this King Tut's story, includes all those things that were buried with him. This became the richest royal collection ever found. So, this is very, very important that all his things that were buried along with him became the richest royal collection. What was there inside the tomb? What was there buried along with him? Now you can see stunning artifacts in gold. Their eternal brilliance, meant to guarantee resurrection, caused a sensation at the time of discovery and still get the most attention. So everything was made of gold. Stunning means surprising. Artifacts in gold. Artifacts are actually the objects created by human beings only. That is their creativity, their creative work. Artifacts, the pieces of the objects of art. And their brilliance, their eternal brilliance, meant to guarantee resurrection, which caused the sensation at the time of discovery, and it got the most attention. But Tut was also buried with everyday things he would want in the afterlife. So it was not all the expensive and exclusive things buried with him, or even the small things like board games, bronze razor, linen undergarments, cases of food and wine. All these simple things were also buried along with him, which they felt that would be required in his afterlife. After months of carefully recording the pharaoh's funerary treasures, now look at the word funerary treasures, the treasure, the wealth, the things that are buried along with the dead body at the time of funeral, along with the rituals of the funeral. So after months of carefully recording the pharaoh's funerary treasures, Carter began investigating his 3 nested coffins. Now let me tell you, Carter took 10 years to catalog all the things that was found, because it was inside the mummy of King Tut. There were around 5,000 and more than 5,000 things found. So he took a long time to catalog them. Carter began investigating his 3 nested coffins. 3 nested coffins means his coffin was in 3 layers. So opening the first, what did he find? When he opened the first layer of the coffin, you know, it is a box in which the dead body is laid, and then it is put inside the in the grave, in the ground. So opening the first, when he opened the first layer, he found a shroud adorned with garlands of willow and olive leaves. Willow and olive are the names of the trees, and their leaves had been taken to cover or make garlands for the body. He found a shroud. Look at the word shroud. Shroud is a cover on the dead body. It's a cloth which covers the dead body. So first coffin layer showed that there was a shroud cover which was adorned, decorated with garlands of willow and olive leaves and wild celery. Celery are very tender plants. It's a vegetable which has very thin leaves and very thin stem. So wild celery, lotus petals and corn flowers, the faded evidence of a burial in March or April. So all these things that had decorated the shroud, the cover of the dead body, showed that, what did it prove? That it was perhaps the burial was done in the month of March or April, because the olive leaves, the wild celery, the cornflowers, the lotus petals, all can be found in the month of March or April. When he finally reached the mummy, so after cutting all the layers, when he finally reached the mummy, though he ran into trouble, the ritual resins had hardened. So it was not very easy for him to reach the mummy, because he ran into trouble while finding the mummy. The ritual resins had hardened. Resin, R-E-S-I-N, resin is a material used for sticking something. So you can even nowadays we use that. So resins are used for sticking something. So in those times, the ritual resin, the traditional resin that was used to stick the body to the coffin box, it had become hard, and therefore cementing touched to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. So the coffin box was made of gold, and when Tut's body was kept inside there, the resins had been used to fix it to the coffin box, the base of the coffin box. And therefore what happened, that as it hardened, it cemented it. Cemented means make it very hard and fixed. So Tut's body had become hard, had got cemented to the bottom of the solid gold coffin. No amount of legitimate force could move them. Carter wrote later what was to be done. Now Carter did not know what to do. He was in a fix. He was in a dilemma how to take out the body out of the coffin. And he was thinking that, he wrote, no amount of legitimate force could move them. Legitimate means that is, originally if you use all the force also, that was not sufficient to remove the body from the bottom of the coffin. The sun can beat down like a hammer this far south in Egypt, and Carter tried to use it to loosen the resins. So Carter thought that the sun's heat is too strong and harsh in the far south in Egypt. Now you know that Egypt in African countries, so they are there. The sun's heat is very, very intense, and therefore he thought that the resins can be loosened if it is kept in the sunlight. For several hours he set the mummy outside in blazing sunshine that heated it to 149 degrees Fahrenheit. Nothing budged. He reported with scientific detachment that the consolidated material had to be chiseled away from beneath the limbs and trunk before it was possible to raise the king's remains. So his idea of keeping the mummy outside in the blazing sunshine so that the resin can loosen or melt because of the due to the heat of the sun, nothing happened. Nothing budged, matlab nothing happened. So, and even if the temperature, you can see it was 149 degrees Fahrenheit. He reported with scientific detachment that the consolidated material had to be chiseled away from beneath the limbs and trunk before it was possible to raise the king's remains. King's remains, king's body. So the dead body, to be, if it is to be lifted, the Carter thought that it has to be chiseled away. The consolidated, the hardened resin material had to be chiseled away. That is, it had to be cut in pieces from beneath the limbs, from his beneath the limbs where it was stuck, and the trunk, the main body. So in this way he had to chisel or cut the resin to complete the investigations. In his defense, Carter really had little choice. So he couldn't do anything, and therefore he had no other choice other than cut the resin. If he had not cut the mummy free, thieves most certainly would have circumvented the guards and ripped it apart to remove the gold. So since the tomb was opened and there was a way to mummy, everybody could reach there, and therefore Carter thought that if he did not cut the resin and make the mummy free from the grave there, the thieves would the chance was that certainly the thieves would go there and they may circumvent the guards, they may fool the guards and rip it apart to remove the gold. So the thieves can take the mummy for stealing the gold. In Tut's time, the royals were fabulously wealthy, and they thought or hoped they could take their riches with them. For his journey to the great beyond, life after death. So in Tut's time, the royals, the kings, the Egyptian kings, the people of Egypt, they believed that they can carry their things, their expensive things after death also. In their journey beyond, great beyond, they can take all those things which they require and all the riches, because they were very rich, the royal people, the kings. So they thought that they can carry all their wealth along with them. King Tut was lavished with glittering goods, precious collars, inlaid necklaces and bracelets, rings, amulets, a ceremonial apron, sandals, sheaths for his fingers and toes, and the now iconic inner coffin and mask, all of pure gold. So see, now this paragraph, the author tells you what were the precious things that were there in King Tut's mummy. Precious collars which are worn around the neck, inlaid necklaces, bracelets, rings, amulets. Amulets are in Hindi what you call it as taweez, which is used for driving away the ill omens. A ceremonial apron, sandals, sheath for his fingers. So they used to take care of each and everything, every smallest thing, to the most precious and expensive things, and they used to bury them with the dead bodies. And finally, the iconic, the most important one was the inner coffin and the mask. Mask was of pure gold. Everything was of pure gold. To separate Tut from his adornments, decorations, all these things which decorated his dead body, and to separate his body for investigation, Carter's men removed the mummy's head and severed nearly every major joint. So they had to remove mummy's head, and they had to make the dead body into pieces. Severed means to cut. They cut nearly every major joint, and only then they could remove the dead body. Once they had finished, they reassembled the remains on a layer of sand in a wooden box with padding that concealed the damage, the bed where Tut now rests. So once their investigation was over, once they had finished means once their investigation was over, they reassembled the remains on a layer of sand in a wooden box with padding, something to support, that concealed the damage. So wherever they had cut the joint and the head part, there they had put a padding there so that the joint or the damage could not be seen, and they put him back into his grave. Archaeology has changed substantially in the intervening decades, focusing less on treasure and more on the fascinating details of life and intriguing mysteries of death. So earlier in 1922, when Carter had investigated the mummy, people believed that he was focusing more on the treasure that was buried along with King Tut. But later on, in the following decades, decade is a period of 10 years, so the intervening means in between this period from 1922, when Carter had started his discovery. From then onwards, archaeology has developed due to the scientific inventions, and they were more focusing on the details of life and intriguing mysteries of death. Intriguing means arousing curiosity. So this kind of their focus had changed, that they were more wondering about what had happened to King Tut, how did he die. It also uses more sophisticated tools, including medical technology. So the sophisticated tools, that is X-rays and CT scan, etc. In 1968, more than 40 years after Carter's discovery, an anatomy professor x-rayed the mummy and revealed a startling fact. Beneath the resin that cakes his chest, his breastbone and front ribs are missing. So, in 1968, after 1968, more than 40 years after Carter's discovery, there was an anatomy professor who was able to x-ray the mummy, because by the time the x-ray invention was there and they could use x-rays, so they could find what had happened actually. So when they x-rayed the body, they found that beneath the resin that cakes his chest means which is the chest part of the body, under which the resin was there they could see that his breastbone and front ribs were missing. Today, diagnostic imaging can be done with computer tomography. Now, X-ray was not that very accurate, so even more accurate technology had come up, which is CT scan, which is computer tomography, by which hundreds of X-rays in cross-section are put together like slices of bread to create a three-dimensional virtual body. So this is how the CT scan works, that hundreds of X-rays in cross-section are put together and a three-dimensional virtual body is prepared. What more would a CT scan reveal of Tut than the X-ray? And could it answer two of the biggest questions still lingering about him? How did he die? And how old was he at the time of his death? So even the anatomy professor who had X-rayed the mummy could not tell much about the mystery of his death. And therefore, they were depending upon the CT scan, whether the CT scan will be able to reveal the secret of his death. King Tut's demise was a big event. Death. King Tut's demise was a big event, even by royal standards. He was the last of his family's line. So his family's, the royal lineage, he was the last heir, and his funeral was the death rattle of a dynasty. So the whole dynasty, the 18th dynasty of Egypt, had come to a stop, and there were no more heirs because King Tut did not have any issue. He did not have his son to succeed him. He had two daughters who died a premature death. They were infants when they died. But the particulars of his passing away and its aftermath are still unclear. So this secret is still a secret, and people and many scientists and archaeologists are still working on it to find out what was the secret behind his death. So the next paragraph that you can see, I will be taking up in the next class or the next video, because half of the chapter is still left. We'll continue in the next session. Thank you.